Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. And this morning, we're going to kick off with a question. A simple question. No, not Triple H. Are you ready? It is simply Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko. I'll repeat it. Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko. According to new reports from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, Manchester United have narrowed down their striker list to just two names. I'll ask that question again. Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko? Reportedly, Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, he's been eliminated from Manchester United's list because he's too expensive. Now, Manchester United are trying to identify out of Watkins or Sesko who would be more attainable, who would be a better fit, who is going to improve the team more, who importantly is going to put the ball in the back of the net, but also who is going to actually help facilitate goals for other players in the team too. So the question remains, Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko? I'll ask you. You let me know in the chat. You let me know in response to this. Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko? We're going to be talking about it this morning. This is the Transfer View, where we talk Manchester United, we talk transfers, and we talk everything happening in between. A lot of people are going to get involved in the chat with this one this morning, I feel like. A lot of people are going to be getting involved. There's going to be a lot of opinions. We spoke about this, of course, last night on the red carpet. Myself, Flexing KG, James from the Uppeteers, Dev, Marcel. There's a lot of opinions going there. If you watched it, you saw that KG was very, 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 very on board with signing Benjamin Sesko. And then if you watch right to the end of the stream, right at the end of it, you would have seen that James was not on board with signing Sesko at all. He was not convinced. You know how I feel. I'm going to let you know how I feel in just a second. More importantly, how do you feel? Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, folks. Bottom right-hand corner. As you can see right there in the top right-hand corner, we are less than 200 subscribers away from 198,000. In addition to that, we've got a jam-packed day for you, folks. Oh, we've got a jam-packed day for you. We have got, obviously, the Transfer View happening right now. In addition to that, we've got It's Tuesday. That means Flex and KG show. In addition to that, we've also got a very special collaboration coming up right after this show. Now, I believe at the moment it's being currently uploaded, so I'm not going to spoil it until it's officially like the premiere is set up and all that fun stuff. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I think there's also something broken with YouTube because on my thing here, it says I've got no viewers. But I've also, which, to be honest, with my last couple of shows, could be entirely possible. But I can see people in the chat. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with YouTube this morning. YouTube's being weird. So, yes, but I can see people in the chat. We've got Shenanigans says, yes, I told you yesterday the plan was Watkins and Sesko was the leverage. When you got no fans, you got probably true. Probably true. Probably true. Javid's in the chat says, good morning, UV. Ozone, I like that. Says, we're all ghosts. Same complexion as me then. I should fit right in, shouldn't I? Bloody hell. All bots. We've been potted. Damn. I tell you what happened to me as well last night. I mean, already going off a topic, but I always get my shopping delivered on a Tuesday. So it's meant, you do your order and then at some time, it's like midnight or like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, they process your payment. And I wake up this morning, your order's cancelled. What the hell is this? And it says, we cancelled it because we couldn't take the payment. I was going, I'm not that broke, am I? And then I check, my bank goes, oh yeah, we stopped that because we thought, who's buying shopping at like 2:00 in the morning? Fraud. Me. Me. I don't have a shopping. I had to reorder that. It's been a whole thing this morning. What a pain in the ass. Honestly. Disgrace. Where's Kenny?
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah. I've got to wait till tomorrow now. Ugh. Team Nathan's been a member for 36 months. Bloody hell. Says, morning, UV. Owen, got to agree with your stance. I'm more for Watkins. It's certified goals. Get it done. And moving on to getting a dynamic central midfielder. Hashtag UV fan. Amanor says, Flex and KG should be in different rooms for red carpet. They were. I mentioned it last night. I think they've already spent too much time together, haven't they? I mean, they were bickering like an old married couple. I had to take them out the show at one point. It was unbelievable. And KG was on another level. KG doing a red carpet where it's around like lunchtime where he is so concerning. He was on another level. He was on another level. And look at that. It's appearing. Just Josh Media Graphics Guru Visual Ninja also in the chat as well as he uploads the video that's gone up. And all I will say, Josh, is, lowercase to uppercase, please, because my OCD is just too much. It's too much. But yes, as you'll be able to see, premiering at 10 a.m. right after this show, it will be Rio Ferdinand on United View. Yes, Rio Ferdinand on United View. You'll be redirected. Yes, you'll be redirected to see Rio's view on what he would like to see from Manchester United this summer. That is going to be coming up after this as well. One more chat here, then we'll get to the news. Lil Yo has been member for 35 months. 35 months. Says, anyone but Højlund, please. I'm fine with either forward. Both forward would get more goals than him. Please, please, please get a striker. And Warren's also been a member for 4 months. Says, honestly, it's sad to see KG not all in with the manager. I want us to be united like the dressing room needs to be. Oh, Warren. Warren has some shades thrown towards Mr. the Comedian in the morning. Oh, wow. Let's talk about strikers. The big breaking news this morning coming from Laurie Whitwell is interesting. 2 names remain. You can do it some kind of, it sounds very like American Idol, doesn't it? X Factor. 100 names started, 2 names remain. I could do it in my deep voice. Not that one.
2 names remain.
Ironic that the Windows XP one was right next to my button for that. Laurie Whitwell says, Manchester United have narrowed down their striker search to 2 primary names in Ollie Watkins and Benjamin Sesko. The club have been weighing up various options over the summer, and now, having signed Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo, they are tailoring their energies on who might join up top. Folks, we're into tailoring energies. Yes, we're into tailoring energies, folks, on who might join up top. Continues by saying, no decision has yet been made on which target to advance, but United are in contact on both Watkins and Sesko to establish the potential costs of each deal. A move for Nicholas Jackson, a player under consideration, has been ruled out due to Chelsea's demands. The demands were reportedly around 100 million or something ridiculous. So good. Manchester United have seen sense with that one. Don't go get Nicholas Jackson. Don't even try it. Don't even think about it. Good. Continues by saying United are in the evaluation stage and there is internal acceptance that negotiations might take time with Aston Villa and RB Leipzig, each putting significant price tags on their respective players. United need to make sales to raise funds with Alejandro Garnacho and Anthony on the market for valuations that would cover the cost of a major arrival, while the departure of players such as Jadon Sancho would also add to the funds available. United's pursuit of a new striker also keeps Rasmus Højlund's future in doubt, and while Inter's capture of Ang Wan Bonny from Parma means the Serie A side are no longer pursuing his signature, several other clubs are observing the situation. Back in that observation phase, oh, we love that. United are in the process of weighing up Watkins and Sesko for their contrasting style, suitability to Ruben Amorim's team, and financial outlay. Villa, and this is quite critical here for a lot of people that have been pushing back on the Watkins deal, Villa privately insist that Watkins is not for sale, but there is a belief at Old Trafford that a deal can potentially be done. United would not have the 60 million that Villa demanded from Arsenal in January, given Watkins is 29, but they might look to find an agreement at 40 to 45 million pounds. What do we think about that price? Are we happy with 40 to 45 million pounds? 35 is probably not going to happen, but 40, 45, okay. Now, his age means he has limited time left at the top level, and there is little resale value. But Watkins would fit the bill as Premier League proven, which Amorim confirmed was a factor in the moves for Cunha and Mbeumo. Watkins has 75 goals in 184 games for Villa in the Premier League, reaching double figures in each of his past 5 seasons, and is seen by some at United as the transfer target most likely to be a reliable source of goals in England's top flight. Watkins registered 24 goals and assists in the Premier League during the last campaign, only behind Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland among strikers. So he's in some pretty good company there, isn't he? Registering numbers only behind Haaland and only behind Alexander Isak. Not bad going. Now, the cost of recruiting Sesko would be higher. When he signed his new contract in 2024, it came with the understanding that if an elite club, by his definition, offered the region of 80 to 90 million euros, which is 69 to 78 million pounds, Leipzig would allow him to leave. Arsenal ended up walking away from a deal after finding talks difficult and the overall expense too great. United have 3 times looked at signing Sesko, though, dating back to when he was a 16-year-old, and he is viewed as having a high potential ceiling. At 22, Sesko could yet be sold in future years, so a transfer should maintain good value. United's director of recruitment, Christopher Bavau, has a history of Sesko, also occupying executive positions at Red Bull Salzburg and Leipzig in 2019 and 2022. But Sesko's tally of 13 goals in 33 Bundesliga games this season is judged by some as falling short of the numbers required for the kind of fee it would take to get him. United must also consider Newcastle placing Sesko at the top of their list to replace Alexander Isak should he depart to Liverpool. There is anticipation Newcastle are ready to put major finances into the Sesko pursuit. Complications for Watkins are that Villa would need a replacement and in good time, but United must balance with outgoings, and clubs are expected to wait before progressing their interest on players, such as Chelsea with Garnacho, even if Amorim warned off clubs who may be anticipating a deadline day deal. So it's complicated. It's complicated. I know obviously there was a lot there, but what I do think the Athletic did was a very good job, and Laurie Whitwell did a very good job on really putting the pros and cons for both players there, for both arguments. And it's funny when these articles come out, because these are really the discussions we've had over the last 24 hours as fans, isn't it? You know, you do have some that will go, yep, I want to get Benjamin Sesko. He's younger. He's got a higher ceiling. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit more, but long-term, you're going to get more out of him, and then you've got the striker settled. Now, the cons involved with Sesko is 13 goals in the Bundesliga last season. I don't really know if that's all that. We've done a couple of project strikers. United, can we really afford to take that risk? We took the risk with Højlund. It didn't work out. Arsenal walked away from the deal because they felt it was too expensive and they felt it was too complicated to do. You're also, do you want to get involved in a bidding war with Newcastle where you can end up overpaying as well, because Leipzig know that 2 clubs are really desperate to sign the player? Then you look at Ollie Watkins and you look at the pros and the cons. The pros being that he's 29, he's ready to go right now. He's cheaper. Well, United believe he's cheaper, despite Villa insisting he's not for sale. They believe they can do a deal for 40, 45 million. His numbers over the last 5 seasons in the Premier League stand up against anyone, the top players, not just goals, but also assists. Again, getting double figures in his last 5 seasons and getting better. and being part of a well-functioning Villa side, it feels like maybe he's better suited to our current tactical style, our current system right now, pressing from the front, running in behind. His hold-up play is very good, bringing other players into the games, as evidenced by the amount of assists that he's got. The con being is that, yeah, he's older than Sesko, and you can talk about resale value, but do we care about resale value if he is a player we signed for about 40 million and for 2 or 3 seasons he's our top striker and scores goals? I don't worry too much then about resale value, because I also then look at people like, let's say Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. They're in their prime, ready to go right now. Were we thinking about resale value when we signed them? No, we were thinking about the impact they can have on the team at the moment. Can they improve us? What have they done in the Premier League over the last few seasons? That's why we paid a premium for them. So, I mean, I put out what I would like and my opinion on it last night on the red carpet. If I had to choose with those 2 names left on the list, all day, I go towards Ollie Watkins. And it's not, British bias, Premier League bias. So when you're just going for players that play in the England team, you know me, when it comes to the England team, I couldn't give a shit at all. It's just, for me, it's the one that makes the most sense. I think that you look at the deals that we've done so far in this window. Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha. Premier League proven, scored goals over the last consecutive seasons. Ruben Amorim said it in his press conference as well. We've already seen these players perform in this league against this opposition. So against these players that we're going to be playing against this season, we've seen them do it at smaller clubs, even though we finish in and around them. At smaller clubs, they're ready to make the next step up, and the transition shouldn't be that difficult. And on top of that, they should be ready to hit the ground running. There shouldn't be that adaptation period of, wow, new league, they're young, new country, this, that, and the other. It's going to take a while. That shouldn't be that. Hit the ground running. We've already seen them pre-season. Matheus Cunha going, I tell you what, he makes a difference already. He looks like he's just slipped right in there. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Another one when it comes to Ollie Watkins, his fitness record, he doesn't miss games. It doesn't miss games. Now, I know, does that really mean anything at Manchester United? We've signed players that don't miss games and then they end up getting hurt. But we've also had a lot of problems with injuries over the last few years. And if we can mitigate that risk as much as possible by bringing in someone that very, very, very rarely gets hurt, very, very rarely misses games, for me, that's a positive, particularly in a season where we are going to be playing 1 game a week. So you would hope there's not going to be this loads of rotation. There's going to be this settled side that hopefully will be difficult to get into because it's so settled and you can name it easily, the starting 11 every single week. I'm much more on the Ollie Watkins bandwagon. I think it's better the devil you know. I don't think we're in the position to be taking a risk. Newcastle, they are in the position to be taking a risk with Benjamin Sesko. Liverpool are in the position to be taking a risk with Hugo Ekitike. A lot of players are in the position to be taking risks for these younger project strikers. We're just not. We can't afford that risk. We've tried it. We've tried taking the risk of the young player to settle in. Financially, you 40 million outlay versus possibly 60, maybe even more, the gentleman's agreement, whatever that may be. And if Arsenal walked away because of expense and they were concerned with contracts, I wouldn't want Ollie Watkins to be on like a 5-year contract, considering he's 29, but you could do a 3+1, something like that. I think maybe there's a bit too much of a concern placed on the fact that he's 29 going, oh, what happens when he falls off the edge of a cliff? We've got key players in our team that are 29, 30. Bruno Fernandes just signed a new contract a couple of years back, and we were begging him to stay. Some at the club were begging him to stay this summer. He's 30, 31, isn't he? He's a key player for us. They can be key players for us over 2 or 3 seasons. So for me, I would go for Watkins. I know that, again, it's... I know that other people would have different opinions on this one, but that's what the whole thing is about. That's the whole thing is about. And in fact, I'll put the poll up. Here in the old chat. Who would you sign? out of these two players because I'm not putting a neither. I'm not putting a neither. Watkins or Sesko. And for some reason, it's like, I don't know if it's like OCD, but they have to have like something after their name. So Watkins, I have that flag, and Sesko's from Slovenia, isn't he? I believe. I think it's Slovenia. Sesko, yeah, Slovenia. There you go. With the watch, call it. With the watch, call it, and the thingy. It's up in the chat. Poll released. Poll released. Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko. Get your votes in. Get your votes in about who you would prefer. Yes. What are people saying? Compost says, I agree, Owen, but I fear Villa are going to rob us with no options left. Ozone Recording says, in Watkins, you've got a guy who will score and help the team guaranteed. I'm just trying to see if we got some ones that are for Sesko as well, because I don't want it to look like I'm just highlighting all of the Watkins ones. Redwan says, does the signing of Cunha and Bumo slightly aid Sesko, although he's seen as a risky signing? Tavares says, it's like the EU vote all again. Remain or Brexit. I don't know which one's which though in this in that one. Some people are saying Mateta. It just doesn't look like that Mateta one's even linked. But according to the report this morning, it's not even on the list. Is it? That's I suppose the difference. Amador, the super chat as well, says, I'm sad we're not replacing Onana, not gonna lie. That was a story that came out this morning, wasn't it? Basically saying that unless we get rid of Altay Bayendia, it doesn't look like we're going to get another goalkeeper.
Oh, my heart!
I didn't want to bring the news down, Amanor. I thought I was going to try and remain upbeat this morning and talk strikers, talk about incomings, and I just feel if I dwell too much on that goalkeeping situation, this show will really go off the edge of a cliff, along with me. To be honest, if I worry too much about the goalkeeping situation, I think about it. Like, I'm always worried about it. If I think too much about it, oh man. Well, it's on us, isn't it? It's on Man United. You know, like I said, I'm not getting. No, that's a lie. I can't commit to that. I was going to say I'm not going to get angry with Onana this season. I will get angry with Onana this season, but I will not blame him. There you go. I will not blame Andre Onana this season. I will blame Manchester United when he makes the mistakes, because he will. The blame is on us. We had the chance. We had the opportunity to do something about it. No. Let Loves Lead says, we don't want a 30-year-old striker. Are you not seeing that our opponents are all going for young potential strikers? Just like Arsenal when they signed Victor Gyökeres, you know, that young potential striker of 27 years old, or Arsenal when they actually went to sign Ollie Watkins, possibly in the January transfer window. It's not true. It's not true. Not true, mate. And do you know what I love with these arguments is when people just to make this stuff up because they don't want the other one. Like, what was it on the red carpet last night when someone went, well, Sesko's got much better numbers than Ollie Watkins? And you went, that's not true. But I don't know what he said. Don't know why you're saying that. But yeah, I mean, not totally accurate. I mean, to be honest, if you were just going to base it on numbers, then Ollie Watkins would win that because he's been playing for longer, right? He's been playing for longer. He's got a better sample size, and it's a sample size we're more familiar with. So if you were going to go just on numbers, then you would probably end up going with Ollie Watkins. And I'm talking about numbers of, you know, goals scored and assists. But the other numbers then involved would be, you know, the age, wouldn't it be? Going, well, Sesko, 22, you know, 22 and only just turned 22. He could be Man United's star striker for 10 years as opposed to Ollie Watkins for 2 years. So you could spend 60 million, you could have him for 10 years. But you've then got a will he, won't he work? It's again about mitigating risk, isn't it? Which is the riskier transfer? Is it the one that's cheaper and ready to go right now, could possibly fit better with this team? Or is it the one that's younger, and if you get it right, then you're sorted, and you never have to think about a goalkeeper for a really long time. It's interesting. I mean, I tell you what. The poll is neck and neck. Good. I mean, get your votes in right now. Poll's only been up less than 5 minutes. Ollie Watkins is just edging it with 52%. Benjamin Sesko trailing at 48%, which, I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? That says it all, where there are maybe just the slither of the majority, maybe. The slither of the majority is going with, I just think we need to go with Premier League proven. I think we need to go with Premier League proven and just stick with, what we know. It's cheaper. We don't have the money. Just get that Premier League proven front three and go with that. And then others are going, no, we need to. And this, to be fair, was kind of KG's point last night, wasn't it? Of going, just because all of these bad signings in the past, and this was effectively the argument between KG and James last night. KG's argument was, just because we've made mistakes, similar mistakes in the past, that doesn't mean that all of the young players that come to Old Trafford are going to flop, are going to fail. We shouldn't be scared of that. If they're the right guy, they're the right guy. Just because Højlund didn't work out doesn't mean Sesko's not going to work out. But then there's the James argument, which is, so we're just going to keep making the mistakes and not learn from them, because surely we should learn from these mistakes and make sure we don't make them in the future. So, and to be honest, and this is never the answer that anyone wants to hear, there's not a right and a wrong way of thinking, is there? To be honest. Either or could come to Old Trafford and be a flop. Either or could come to Old Trafford and be a success. It's just about preference and opinion, isn't it? For me, if I had to choose, I'd go towards Watkins. Like I said, I just feel like I don't want us to be doing the young project striker that we've done the last few years. I think for a team that finished 15th, I just don't think we have the time or the patience for someone that might take a little bit of time to adapt, or maybe longer to adapt. Look at, say, like Xerxes. Oh my God, last season, first 6 months, got hammered, absolutely hammered for adapting. Even now, people will say with Højlund, won't they? They'll go, just give him time, give him some time. He's still young. And I just don't know if I want to go through all of that again. I would just prefer this. We know what we're getting. He's done it in the Premier League before. Go with that. And also, because he's 29, there isn't this, well, give him some time, it's going to have to settle. No, it's just he has to hit from the ground, hit the ground running. But others will be, like I said, it doesn't matter about the Højlund one. They're irrelevant. That's different. That's a different thing. That's a different thing, And the fact that we've got these Premier League proven players in Cunha and Mbumo, they're hitting the ground running. It takes a bit of the pressure off of Benjamin Sesko. So if it did take a little while to adapt, that would help out. And if it does take a little while to adapt, you still got Xerxes, and then that's going to help out. And I'm just thinking, I just don't think we have enough time. If we were a team that was finishing in, like, say, the top 6 or top 4 last season, then I would probably lean more towards the sort of Sesko one. Say, look, we're a good team. The problem is we're not a good team. That's the issue. We're not a good team. And even when we have been relatively successful a couple of seasons ago in finishing in the top 4, we've struggled to score goals for a while. For the last 3 or 4 seasons, we've really struggled to score goals. And I think we just have to find a scenario where, how do we make that risk as small as possible, that whoever we sign won't score goals or won't hit the ground running? Because I just don't think we can afford to take that risk. Kay has been a member for 27 months. Appreciate you, Kay. Says, we have Højlund and Obi, so we don't need another young one to become Premier League ready 2 seasons from now. We need experienced players. MXG says, PSG going for Chevalier. Bring Donnarumma to Old Trafford expeditiously. Well, I'm conflicted about this one now, because if you watch the match view on Saturday, I said that if we signed Gianluigi Donnarumma, I would do the hot chip. That is how convinced I am, still am, we are not going to sign Donnarumma in this transfer window. Has it maybe alarmed me a smidge over the last few days that the reports aren't going anywhere? It's just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a smidge. I still don't think we're going to sign Donnarumma. Donnarumma, I'm a massive Donnarumma fan. Last season in the Champions League, I was like sort of around the time of the Liverpool game or what have you, when he was getting criticism, oh, he's actually rubbish, he's crap. I was like, bullshit. Donnarumma's a very good goalkeeper. And then we saw it against Villa, against Arsenal. Just brilliant. He is a fantastic goalkeeper and big saves. The reason I like him is obviously, look, he's tall, collects the ball from crosses, but he makes big saves in big matches. But I cannot see a scenario where you would win the Champions League and then go to 15th in the Premier League. I mean, I think it ends up with him signing a new PSG contract. And I also think there's the money we'd have to give him. Surely it would have to be ridiculous. I can't see it. I really can't see it. I would love it. Be willing to do the chip for it, which is going to be very detrimental to my health. But yeah, I cannot see that. I really can't. Tabra says, yet again, the 52% vote for the UK. Where's the...
Here we go!
There you go, Fabrizio. He was hitting back at people on Instagram. Did you see that, guys? When... because obviously this whole Morgan Gibbs-White thing's been happening. And he got the here we go treatment, didn't he? Going to Spurs from Nottingham Forest. And... as is always the case, you get the trolls, don't you? Get the trolls. So when he was reporting, I think on Instagram saying, oh, Gibbs-White signed a new contract, you know, they were going scamano, fraudano, and all this kind of stuff. And Fabrizio was giving it back. He got very, well, they activated a release clause and he was traveling for his medical in London. So if that's not here we go, I don't really know what is. So it was full David Brent. It was Italian David Brent. Basically, he was traveling for it, so not really fraud, is it? Because if he's on the way to do his medical, that's pretty much here we go. So I don't really know if I'm wrong. Sounds like you're wrong, mate. Shame that you've ruined it. Shame. I thought. It's like Fabrizio, man. You got other things to worry about. Shenanigans, it's been over for 5 months, says, maturing is realizing Watkins is the correct choice. You're right. We're all very mature here. Sesko doesn't even fit how Amorim wants to play. We need a senior striker. Right. And Sam is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome to you. Appreciate you joining. You can also join the Members Club. Links in the video description. You can click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears in the sidebar. Amador says, Owen, did you see Cecil's AFTV clip of Bain / Llokeres? I haven't. It's one of those ones where I've been scrolling through the timeline. And I saw it was on there, but I couldn't bring myself to watch it. Should we watch it together now? Maybe we should just do it together. Let's have a look. AFTV. Because that's probably the only way that I can... Okay, right. It's pinned. I'm bracing myself. Share screen. There you go, what you call it. All right. Is that up? Yeah. Here we go.
A prison in a more ancient part of the world. The pit, where men are thrown to suffer and die. But sometimes a man rises in the darkness. Sometimes the pit sets something back.
That mask.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. No one cared who I was when I put on the mask.
That is the shittest Bane impression I've ever seen or heard in my life. What was that? What? I could do a better one cupping my hands. It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. I mean, what is that? God. Oh, sorry.
Plan. No one cared who I was when I put on the mask. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. I'm Arteta's reckoning, come to set the Emirates alight. The shadows betray you, because they belong to me. Take them to the stands. Fans of their status deserve.
Fucking Christ. I don't know if he's Bane or going through puberty. Like, oh my God. My voice used to squeak like that when I was 13. And this is, and it's the, I thought this was meant to lower his voice. This is meant to lower his voice, but he's turning into a man. Like, what? Oh, okay.
Because they belong to me. Take them to the stands. Fans of
it's that bit. It's that. Take them to the stands.
Their status deserve to experience
Deserve.
the new Emirates and Arteta's era. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark.
That is not frightening, is it? And also, it's doing nothing for his anonymity, is it? I'm Batman. Well, no, you're Cecil. I can tell you're Cecil.
I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing to me but blinding.
Blinding. Blinding.
Nothing to me but blinding.
Blinding.
I am Arsenal's main striker, and I am here to fulfill Arsenal's destiny. I will show you where I made my home, preparing to bring glory, and then I will break the league.
Arsenal finally got their striker.
I hadn't seen this. I really hadn't. You can tell. I hadn't seen this. I hadn't seen this.
It goes by the name of Victor Gyökeres.
Oh, jeez. That is. Oh, I can't breathe, man. Oh. Ooh. Man, wow. That cheered me up this morning. That was
Honestly, I feel sick. That's how I feel. I feel sick.
That is crazy. Now, thanks, Amanor, for bringing that to my attention. Do you know? I clearly must have known. You know, I must have known. I did see it. I saw it a couple of times on my social media feed, and I couldn't just sort of bring myself to watch it. I couldn't bring myself. It just sort of kept coming up, and I thought, I'm not really. I can't be bothered to watch that. I must have known subconsciously for my health, like, don't watch. I mean, honestly, I'm actually nearly being sick watching that. Oh my God. Well, can confirm. I don't think we'll do an Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko version of that, whatever that is. But I like the Dark Knight Rises as well. Not so much now. Not so much. Yeah. We've got close to 1,200 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button, folks. See if we can get to 400, get to 500 likes. Be sure to subscribe as well. A reminder, we've got after this, you follow this up with Rio Ferdinand on United View. It's going to be premiering at 10 o'clock. So you'll be redirected from this show to that. So you can hear what Rio Ferdinand has to say about the season ahead, about Manchester United, about which signings he hopes Manchester United go for in this summer window. Flex and crew spoke to him, and that's going to be going up in about 15 minutes' time. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about Alejandro. Actually, it's the poll, Owen, the poll. Oh, do I still have the Gary Neville all on my soundboard? I probably do, in addition to my 10 million other sounds, but the poll's changed, guys. The poll has changed. Interesting. So the question was, who would you sign out of these two players? The poll's been up for 20 minutes. We've had over 600 and close to 660 votes, which is a disgrace. We've only had 346 likes. Some have been voting and not liking. But if you haven't already, click the like button. In the poll, Benjamin Sesko has 51%. Ollie Watkins now has 49%. So there's been a bit of a surge on Sesko. Bit of a surge on people clicking Sesko over Ollie Watkins. Now, I think you do have to take into account, are all of those likes or all of those votes Man United fans? Or are they, are they changes? Are they ops coming in? Going, well, I don't want them to sign Watkins. I'll put Sesko. But as of right now, with the votes, nearly 700 of you voting, 51% are going with Benjamin Sesko. I'm in the minority. Folks. I'm in the minority. Right, Alejandro Garnacho, a bit of an update on Garnacho, and he could be on his way to Chelsea. This one is still possible, despite the fact they're signing a million different wide players. A move to Chelsea could still be on the horizon. Ben Jacobs for TalkSport is saying that Chelsea could bid for Alejandro Garnacho in addition to Xavi Simons, as reported on TalkSport previously. Another left winger is possible even after Gittins, due to Kenda arriving in 2026, of course, whilst they have signed him. He's not going to be arriving until next year. Mudryk is unavailable due to his drugs ban, suspension, doping, whatever. And Jadon Sancho is returning to Manchester United. Gross. And a chance that George is loan. Therefore, what Ben Jacobs is saying there is, whilst they are signing Xavi Simons, it looks like they're still in the market for wide players. So the Garnacho move to Chelsea could still be on. And with Garnacho possibly leaving, I mean, it has gone quite. The only thing we hear about Alejandro Garnacho is there's about an update about once a week, isn't it? About once a week, it comes out. Oh, Garnacho, yeah, it's usually from Fabrizio. Garnacho wants to stay in the Prem. That's it. I mean, last week it was, well, I suppose he could go to Villa, and then that's gone very quiet. Maybe if we do go after Ollie Watkins, maybe that could, discussion could start on that one once again. Maybe it's trying to figure out the way the dominoes are going to fall, isn't it, really? Because if we signed Watkins and they needed a striker, Villa, maybe they go to Chelsea and say, right, we'll have Nicholas Jackson. And then maybe with the Jackson money, Chelsea go after Alejandro Garnacho. That could happen. Maybe Garnacho could end up going to Villa. He's been linked to a move to Villa. Some are also saying that Spurs could be one that gets looked at, because it looks more and more likely now, doesn't it, that Heung-min Song's going to be actually going to the MLS. The move for Son to LAFC is getting closer and closer. So there's going to be a spot available in that team. In addition to that, they had earmarked to spend, was it £60+ million on Morgan Gibbs-White? So obviously they got money to spend, and they've got Champions League football. I don't want to talk about how or why they've got it, but they have got that. So they could be in the market for attacking players. So I suppose as of now, there are still those sort of 3-ish Premier League clubs that could be on the horizon for Garnacho, but they feel quite far off, don't they? They feel quite far off because a lot of stuff still needs to happen. In Spurs' case, well, they have to sell, Heung-min Son. They do have the money set aside, but they'll be focusing on that and who they want to go after first. With Chelsea, well, they're going to get the Javi Simons one done first, and then maybe try and move on Nicholas Jackson and then see where they're at. So they got a couple of deals that have got to happen there. And then with Aston Villa, it's like, well, I suppose that can depend on what happens with Ollie Watkins, and that depends on Manchester United that's moving quite slowly too. So there's all of these different parts that have to move, which maybe goes back to what that report was saying earlier from Laurie Whitwell, which is, this sort of Jumpers for Goalpost says it there in the chat, that 19 days until Arsenal, I don't think we'll have a striker in. It looks less and less likely. The only hope that we've got, I think, is that sometimes once the dominoes do fall, they can happen very quickly. Things can move very, very fast because of that, and then you can end up signing someone in a day or two. Like it doesn't take that long to sign a player, but early on, when you still got time to go left in the window, and clubs it's like in the office, isn't it? When in the office when they're doing that whole like that against each other, you get caught in that Mexican standoff, and everyone just sort of waits to the last minute. And I think it was kind of an attempt by Ruben Amorim and Manchester United in his press conference the other day to sort of suggest, well, if clubs try that, they're waiting for deadline day to put in a bid for some of these players, it's not going to work out for you. It's not going to work out for you. So, we'll just reintegrate those players. I don't think there's any intention to reintegrate those players. I think all of those players in the Exiled Four, also known as the Bomb Squad, just rubbish name. I think they will all leave still. Jadon Sancho is another one that you can see there. I think it was Sky Sports in Germany coming out yesterday saying that Borussia Dortmund were looking at him once again, saying that it could be about like 20 million euros, which is 15, 17 million quid, which is, it's nothing, but it's that's how much Jadon Sancho's worth at this point, isn't he? We couldn't even do the 25 million pound deal to Chelsea because he wanted too much money. And I remember sitting in this very space on deadline day last year when the Sancho one got announced and confirmed, and it was he's going on loan to Chelsea, and it's a obligation, but it was an obligation of 25 million pounds. And at the time, there was pushback and outroar from United fans going, I can't believe that 25 million. I can't believe we've been fleeced. They have taken the piss. They've massively taken the piss out of us. They're going to be signing him for 25 million. Someone like Jadon Sancho for 25 million. Oh, how embarrassing. Fast forward a year later, we'd love to get 25 million for Jadon Sancho. If Chelsea had paid 25 million pound for Jadon Sancho, we'd have all been like, good money. Good money. We'll take that, because now he's like worth 15, 17. And I wouldn't even be shocked if he ends up going for less, in all honesty. So I don't know. I think I would be shocked if he ends up going to Dortmund. The only thing would be, how does he figure out the wages? Is he so desperate to return home that he's willing to take a pay cut? Because he wasn't willing to take a pay cut to join Chelsea and be in London, and he's from London. So you would have thought, that would have been a good move for him. And he was liked at Chelsea internally. They did want to keep him, but he was, it was about making sure he gets the money that's currently on his contract, because I think even he knows, next contract I get, it's not that. The gravy train is drying up for me. So I'm going to have to get what's on that contract. And which is, look, I don't blame him for that regard of, it's not his fault that someone signed and said they'd be willing to pay him X amount for X amount of time. But it does show a lack of ambition, doesn't it? Going, no, I won't probably get this again. You would hope the ambition would be, well, look, if I go somewhere, play for a year, that I can go get a massive contract because I'll show people what I'm worth. It was just Man United that was holding me down or whatever. but there is almost this sort of conceding, isn't there? There's this conceding from Sancho of, nah, I'm not going to probably make it back to the rating that I had or the form that I had when I was at Dortmund the first time. Yeah, it's kind of it, which is mad because Sancho's still very young. He's still very, very young. He's 25. He should be in his prime. Brian Mbumo, Mateus Cunha, similar ages. They're going at the moment for, 62, 70 million quid. Like a lot of money. And we're expecting them. Mateus Cunha and Brian Mbumo, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at them going, right, okay, you're in your prime now, so you should be getting better. You didn't give your best years to Brentford or Wolves. You'd be giving your best years to Manchester United. Hopefully you can escalate on your performances and you can become even better than you were at those other clubs. With Sancho, we're talking about a player that's 25, turned 25 in March, and he's on the decline of, he won't get back to what he was 5 years ago, which is insane. I remember in that COVID window, when Dortmund were charging, was it like 120 odd million, and the whole thing about the deadline of the bid, and then Dortmund doing the social media posts. He's here at training, and he's sitting next to Haaland, and yeah, it's just it really is mad. It really is absolutely it is mad when you really think about it. And as far as where he goes next, maybe he'll go back to Dortmund. I think things that have aged poorly, very poorly, is the outrage of that whole Jadon Sancho situation with Eric Ten Hag, and then people doing the sort of Sancho stands of like doing the Sancho watch-alongs or whatever. And what was that, 2 years ago? It's aged poorly. It's aged very poorly. Nowadays, put it this way, wherever Jadon Sancho goes next, people are not going to be doing Sancho watch-alongs, are they? That is not going to happen. If Jadon Sancho, for instance, goes back to Dortmund, are we going to be getting Dortmund watch-alongs first game of the season in the Bundesliga? I don't think so. I something in me says I don't think that will be the case this time round, because it was just ridiculous the first time round, frankly, wasn't it? We've got we're 9 likes away, by the way, folks, from 400 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, as we're less than 200 subscribers away from 198,000. A reminder for what's on tap for today. It's going to be a busy, busy day. We have got the Rio View. Rio Ferdinand, yes, is going to be sharing his thoughts on Manchester United's season ahead. Just looking at the title of the video, it says, Rio, believer, the dream, Bruno will shine. It's also got discussions about Ollie Watkins and Benjamin Sesko. This took place in Chicago, Illinois. So we'll hear what the ex-Manchester United defender has to say about all of those topics. That will be starting right after this show ends at 10 a.m. It's Tuesday as well, so we should have a Flex and KG show. Tomorrow it's match day, so we're going to have a match preview too ahead of the game against Bournemouth. So there's going to be plenty of content. And then, of course, you never know when it comes to transfer news. Other stuff might happen. As far as other things on my channel, remember this weekend, it's SummerSlam. I'm going to be live Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night, all across the weekend. I'm not going to sleep. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And also today, I'm going to do my usual stuff on my channel, but also I'm going to do Netflix WWE Unreal. If you haven't watched it, if you like F1 Drive to Survive, basically WWE have done their own version of that on Netflix, where they show you how the cake is made, basically, or how the sausage is made. And some people that can put them off a lot, and some people that can go, oh, that's very interesting. So there's 5 episodes. I think they're all like an hour. So I'm going to watch them all and do like a review with some screen grabs and stuff like that. So that should be fun. In addition to doing a million other things today. So a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, as always, to the Transfer View. A reminder, don't go anywhere. You'll be redirected straight to the Rio Ferdinand video. And Super Arch with the final super chat of the day. It says, how many crash outs for Arsenal this season? Well, we get, typical is about 4 or 5. 4 or 5. Around about April, it really kicks up into high gear, doesn't it, for the Arsenal crash outs. We can't really do it because, we've had quite a few of our own over the last year or so, but it's okay. It's fine. Anyway, guys, appreciate you for joining in as always on the Transfer View. Stay tuned for Rio's View. I'm out of here. Peace.